and a very warm welcome to all of you. I hope you've all had a wonderful Diwali, and I hope that you are still thinking about that brilliant match between India and Pakistan at the MCG on Sunday, because I am, and I can tell you there are a lot of fans out there on social media. As I posted this, everybody said they've been talking about it with their friends. There have been conversations around some of the moments of that match, what stood out, what are the most talked about moments from that match. Of course, Virat Kohli's innings being right at the top of it. But what are some of the other moments? India won this thriller in the most spectacular fashion. But what were the other moments in the match that made this match so great? I'm joined here by Ashok Malhotra, former Indian cricketer, former selector, who was there when we reviewed the game. And there was one thing that he talked about right after we were talking about Virat Kohli was Hardik Pandya. And yes, his innings and his all-round performance was brilliant, sir. But there have been a lot of moments here, and we'll take our viewers through those moments, through those particular moments in the match that changed the match for India. If I could just ask you, what is that one moment for you, other than, of course, Virat Kohli's innings?
I would say the way Ashwin took the wicket of both Rizwan and Babar Azam. And Babar Azam wicket of the first ball, it raised the morale of Indian team, the self-belief of Indian team. And there must be tremors in the Pakistan dressing room the moment Babar got out. And then Rizwan losing his wicket to that pull shot. I think they must be shattered by the time, and Indian team must be thinking the winning line. They're looking at the winning line. So those two balls were very, very crucial. Arshdeep's spell was very, very crucial. And then when he came back, he got rid of Asif Ali, who can hit the ball a long way. So he's a phenomenal striker of the ball. So those three wickets, but first and foremost, those early wickets, two early wickets, we pushed Pakistan on the break.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, we have included his performance in those moments. So let's begin with the underrated moments from that famous MCG win. And we've got to begin with Mohammad Shami. So much was talked about, sir, before this World Cup began, about Mohammad Shami, whether he's going to be there. Jasprit Bumrah pulled out at the last moment. Mohammad Shami really hasn't got any game time in that warm-up game, of course, was brilliant. But to be able to come and give that kind of performance against Pakistan, and, he may have taken just one wicket, but that was the most important wicket, because just before in the earlier over, and we can put those graphics up for our viewers of Mohammad Shami, how he dismissed Iftikhar Ahmed in the 13th over. So the 12th over, Iftikhar Ahmed had hit Indian bowlers, had hit Akshar Patel for 3 sixes. So, he'd scored a 50. He was, he was having a good partnership with Shan Masood, but Mohammad Shami changed that all. So, Mohammad Shami, again, his performance, we've got to mention how important that was in India's win.
Definitely, Meha. I not only picked up Iftikhar, he even conceded just 25 runs. So he was not very expensive too. Yeah. He came in place of Ashok Patel, who's the knack of leaking too many runs. He was going for 10 and over. So whereas this guy went for 4 and over, literally 4 and over, 6 and over, sorry, 6 and over. And not to forget Iftikhar, who was just about going to take off. He cut his takeoff in half. The way he bowled. It was not that that ball got him. A ball before could have got him. He just got an inside edge. So he's a phenomenal bowler. And these kind of wickets suits him perfect. There is the grass on the pitch, there is cloud cover, ball is darting around. Because his seam position is awesome. To say that he probably has the best seam position besides Anderson in the world cricket. He is go-to man. He bowled well in the power play. He bowled well in the middle over and even in the slot. So he's a go-to man for you, and he has the experience behind. Yeah. Sure, he hasn't played. And as I said before, he's out there to prove a point to the selectors, to the management, to the think tank. You made a huge mistake by not letting me play for a year and a half.
And if it wasn't for that dropped catch by Ravichandran Ashwin in the deep, he would have had Shan Masood as well, the other person who scored a 50 in that. match.
Yeah, because see, the good thing about him is when he comes into bowl, the batters are a little bit intimidated because of what he has done in international. And then they don't bat freely against him. They know his ball will do something. It will either dart around or move away. Something will happen, and he's quick enough. He's not a slow medium pacer like Harshal Patel, and nobody's intimidated by Harshal Patel. They take him on. Whereas Shami is not that guy. Sure, anybody can go for runs in a slog overs, but he is going to be very, very consistent with his line and length. And if the wickets are as helpful as we are seeing up till now, beat Perth, beat next, because our game against South Africa is in Perth, so that will be again helpful for our bowlers. So that will be helpful for Shami too. So I think he is going to be a great inclusion in the side, better late than never kind of a thing. And as I said before, again I'm saying it, he's out there to prove everybody wrong.
Yeah. Okay, then let's move on to Arshdeep Singh. You've already mentioned his name, and yes, impressive debut to be able to do it against Pakistan at the G. Pressures on him. First delivery, he gets a wicket off Babar Azam. I mean, to get the openers, where you said that, look, Pakistan, if you can get the openers out early, then, you won 60% of the game. To be able to then do it. And so there is also this thing of how he was strolled after that dropped catch in the Asia Cup, to come back from that, to say that, it was one game, and yes, there are times when you end up, dropping a catch. But this particular spell, the way he bowled here, just showed that he's got a matured head on his shoulders.
He has, and you got to have a thick skin, because we keep hearing our skipper saying outside noise, because nowadays social media, which is sometimes unfair, which everybody is not great on social media. There are people who appreciate you, who probably, if you have a bad day, then they sympathize with you. But there are a lot of people, I would say, silly people who just make a mountain out of it. Sure, anybody can drop a catch. Sure, it was a sitter, and he's a much better fielder. He's a much better fielder. We saw that on the catch on the fine leg. So that is what he is. But the way he bowled, it is not that he picked up 2 wickets. Sure, he got Babar Azam first, but the way he was beating the Ridgeway, I'm sure it was sending shivers down the spine of the entire dressing room of Pakistan, because he didn't have a clue whether the ball was coming in or going out, and he was taking full advantage. And he was quite peaceful. He's not a 128 bowler. He's 135 plus bowler. So that shows, and a plus a left-hander, and who can move it both ways. So he can be a plus guy, and this might be a shot in the arm for his cricketing career. I think he's going to be a future star, a star for Team India, future star who will be playing for India, probably, if he doesn't get injured, for at least 6 to 7 years.
And also the confidence that this would have given him. A youngster to be able to bowl like that. There's one thing that you may dream of bowling at the MCG in a World Cup match against Pakistan, but to be able to go and execute your plans, to get wickets, to get the openers early, this is a dream come true. It's a fairy tale really for the young Arshdeep Singh. And sir, we all keep forgetting, but this is his first season. I mean, he's just,
And Neha, that shows his temperament.
Yeah.
Big match temperament for bigger stage. Some guys are meant for bigger stages. He's meant for bigger stage. There are a whole lot of cricketers who will bowl well in domestic cricket, whole lot of batters who perform well in domestic cricket. I am also one of them. But when it comes to the bigger stage, that last hurdle, crossing that hurdle is not an easy. To have that belief that I belong here, that is the most difficult part. And as you said, MCG, 90,000 people watching, pressure game, T20 World Cup, and how well he handled himself. That is what his temperament, his mental toughness, everything included. And that is why I'm saying he is probably a star in the making.
in the making, star for the future, but somebody who's already a star. He's had a wonderful year, and you can add this great performance in the match against Pakistan. That is Hardik Pandya, an all-round effort yet again from what we saw in the Asia Cup to now. The situation was, though, very different. And, you know, there's an interview, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's an interview with Virat Kohli. Both of them are sitting and talking to each other about their partnership. And Virat Kohli says that, can I be very honest with you, I was under tremendous amount of pressure. I was feeling the pressure. But it was Hardik Pandya who kept saying, we can do it. If we just take the game deep, if we just believe in ourselves, we can do it. And Hardik Pandya said that, you know, why this partnership and why our innings was so special was because we were struggling. We were struggling till the very end, and yet we crossed the line. And that's why it is so much more special. But sir, Hardik Pandya himself, I mean, a lot of credit has to be given to him because of how he's been controlling India's middle overs with the ball. Even in that game, you know, that credit's not being given to him, but it was him who ran through Pakistan's middle over. Of course, then there's the 40 that he scored with Virat Kohli.
Absolutely, Meha. I think when he was injured, he did visit Mine. He did visit Mahendra Singh Dhoni during his birthday. I'm sure he must have taken a leaf out of his book because he's very calm and composed. If you look at Hardik Pandya before injury, he was a flamboyant, little bit arrogant, but he's very calm, composed, and as we discussed before, when the chips are down, he's the one now you can depend on because he can consolidate an inning, he can bring an inning to a good end, and then we know how big he can hit. Even that day, he was the one who let the bat do the talking when he went after Nawaz. He was the first one who started it. And then Kohli followed it. And as Kohli has been saying that he was the one who was telling me, let's take it deep, let's take it deep. That shows the importance. That shows the mental toughness. That shows the attitude. And that is why I'm saying MS Dhoni. Why I'm saying again that both of these guys, they're hero worship.
Yeah.
You know, beat Virat, beat Hardik Pandya, and now they've got his calmness, the way he was always composed under pressure, how to handle pressure. Virat has done it, but for us, Hardik is a new thing. And I think I'm saying again and again, I don't know if India wins T20 World Cup. It's a different ball game, but if you don't, then Hardik Pandya is your next captain, white ball captain.
Yes, take a look at that. Superb all-round effort by Hardik Pandya in the game. Controlled the middle overs with the ball. 3 for 30, which included wickets of Shadab, Haider Ali and Mohammad Nawaz. And we know how destructive they can be, sir. We saw what Mohammad Nawaz did to Indian bowlers in the Asia Cup. Then the other thing being that big partnership with Virat Kohli. I know that he got out in the last over, but he'd done the job. Had he not stuck around with Virat Kohli, then we would have lost that game. So, you know, this is as much, if not more, the match-winning performance by Hardik Pandya as it is for Virat Kohli. But, yes.
See, Meha, definitely. His performance has been overshadowed by the phenomenal batting of Virat Kohli, especially in the 90s. But we cannot forget what he did for us.
Exactly.
You know, they were cruising after Iftikhar and Shan Masood had a partnership. But then he brought us back with those 3 quick wickets.
Absolutely.
So they were 120 for 7. You know, except for those last 3 overs which went for 40. We would have been having the target of maybe 130, 140.
Yeah.
So how that is, and then when the chips were down, when we are desperate for a partner, that is where comes the hour, comes Hardik Pandya. That kind of a performance he gave. You know, I understand when comes the hour, comes Virat Kohli, but comes the hour, comes Hardik Pandya. Beat batting, beat bowling, beat fielding. That is another is man for all seasons.
Absolutely. Okay, let's also then move on to the next moment, and that is the Ashwin's great leave in T20 history. And let's put that up for everybody. This was fantastic. India needed 2 off the last delivery. Now, in walks Ashwin. Dinesh Karthik has just gotten out, sir. The pressure on Nawaz as well as on Ashwin. Nawaz bowls a wide going down leg side, but it was the awareness that Ashwin showed, you know. There was absolutely no confusion from him. He just knew what to do in that moment. A lot of players could have just been, you know, taken aback. They would have tried to hit the delivery, but Ashwin just realized as quickly as the ball was bowled and said, you know what, this is going down leg side, and just walked away, just didn't do anything. And there you had it, the scores had been leveled. That just showed, I mean, we've talked very often about Ashwin and, you know, the kind of cricketing brain that he has and how he analyzes the game. But this was great match awareness.
Definitely, he's a thinking man.
Yeah.
You know, he's a thinking man and who lives and dies by his own ideas. You know, and he has seen Dinesh Karthik because Dinesh Karthik moved away and he followed him. And our biggest striker of the team got out, you know, in a bad way. You know, this was a cakewalk for him. And he must have seen it from the dugout, that this is what he's angling in ball and he's probably going to drift down the leg side. And he was kind of prepared for it. And not only that, Mia, he tied the toe, but then the way he finished it, he was so cool, so composed. He didn't try to hit it. He knew he just had to time it to perfection, and that is exactly what he did. You know, because otherwise Virat would have been heartbroken if it was become a tie, or if India would have lost in a last over. You know, so that is what Ashwin does. And see, he is a man of his own ideas. You know, even the run out, he stood by his decision. World was going, you know, hammer and tongs at him. This is unfair, or this is unsportsmanlike. But he said no. This is what. How can he take the advantage? I'm a bowler. He's a batter, so he has to. And he has his own ideas, and I always admire him for that. And as you very rightly said, he is a thinking man. And not to forget, he's an engineer by profession. Anyway.
Yeah, he's the first one to have made retiring out a thing, where he said, you know what, if you can't score runs, just get out, let somebody else.
That is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's a thinking guy. He has his ideas, and normally they come out tops.
Yeah. Okay, then move on to your favorite cricketer, Dinesh Karthik. Now, he couldn't have finished the game, which we saw. There was, you know, and even that stumping, a lot of people who have been wondering why Dinesh Karthik is in the side would have said, see, he cannot do this. But there was a moment earlier on when Pakistan were batting in the first over, sir. If you remember, Bhuvneshwar Kumar was bowling, and we're not talking about Bhuvneshwar Kumar, but 2 overs from him also were brilliant in the beginning. I mean, he could have got 2 wickets in those 2 overs. But was unlucky because the ball was darting around even then. But one of his balls, he bowled wide going down leg side, and the way Dinesh Karthik sort of saved those runs, that made a difference because he saved 3 runs, and those 3 runs could have been huge because the margin of error here in this game turned out to be so small that was another moment that stood out for me. I don't know if you'll agree with me though.
See, any wicketkeeper would have done it. Do you think Rishabh Pant wouldn't have done it, or Sanju Samson wouldn't have done it, or even KL Rahul wouldn't have done it? That is keeper's job. You know, sure, it was a good take, but all the keepers are supposed to take good takes down the leg side. You know, but his main, he's not there for his wicket keeping, he's there for his batting, and it was tailor-made for him, and he missed an opportunity. I read somewhere where he told Ashwin, "You saved my skin."
Yes, he did.
You know, so that shows. You know, he must be also under pressure because there's a lot of guys like me who are always there, and not me, most of the people. They want Rishabh Pant to play ahead of him. So, but the fact is, anyway, it was a good team game. It was a collective effort. You know, those 3 runs could have been vital, as you said. But the that is wicketkeeper's job. He's supposed to stop those runs.
No, I get it. I get it. I thought maybe I'd just get you to my side, but no. No, I get it. I also understand that it was his job, and that the moment when he came in to bat, it was tailor-made for him. This is what he's been training for. This is what he is in the side for. And, you know, he couldn't. really utilized the opportunity that he had. Okay, but now we've got to end this with Virat Kohli and his smart thinking. And why I'm saying this has been talked about, but I just wanted to get your opinion on it as well. All that happened with the no ball, free hit, and him running those 3 runs, which turned out to be byes. And I thought that that was brilliant, especially because of how Pakistan were reacting to it and their lack of awareness of what happens, whereas the Indian players knew exactly what was going on. To me, that stood out. Yes.
No, Meha, you're missing a point there. What stood out was the language. You're not getting it. Kohli was speaking in Queen's English to Erasmus and Rod Tucker, whereas they must have gone to him. It is not. They would have said no ball, and they would have said something in a long sentence, which none of the Pakistani fielders could understand. So they went to their respective positions. If it would have been an Indian umpire, things would have got worse. Or a Pakistani umpire, because then they could have been able to use the language. It was a language which created problem, because Kohli convinced the umpires in his Queen's English, it's a no ball. But although I do agree, they should have gone to the third umpire, because when the technology is available, why don't you take it? Why don't you take advantage of it?
Can you go to the third umpire, especially if the square leg umpires already said that it's a no ball?
Yeah, no, that is why I'm saying that there is technology. Why would third umpire declare a no ball without consulting the third umpire when he has the technology on his side?
But
because it's not to forget, it's the India-Pakistan game. It's a T20 World Cup game. It's a do or die thing. And when you got a technology on your side, why don't you take advantage of that too? I'm not saying it might have been, it's a touch and because no ball is, Meha, when you're standing, then it should be above your waist.
Correct.
But Virat was not standing. He was on the way down.
Forward.
So we don't know exactly. It was touch and go. And if it was that case, then he should have taken the third umpire's decision. They should have gone to the third umpire. And as far as convincing the umpires, I think his language was a barrier for the team Pakistan, because if you see, they went to the umpires just for a split second. They didn't stick around with the umpire.
So, you know, what I think is, I mean, I don't know, sir, but the way I saw this was that the moment Virat Kohli hit that ball for a 6, he knew that obviously height was an issue, and he did this to the square leg umpire, who had turned around to see whether there was a catch that could be taken. And then as soon as he saw that it had gone over the ropes, he turned around and signaled a no ball. So it's not like Murray Erasmus had not seen it, and he's an experienced umpire. So my thing is, why go to a third umpire when the square leg umpire is very clearly saying that, look, it is a no ball. I've seen it's beyond your waist height. It's above.
See, Neha, if he would have gone to the third umpire, we wouldn't have been discussing. It is a controversy which you could have with the third, having a DRS or having a review system. This controversy
could have been avoided.
Could have been avoided. So that is why, and that is an India-Pakistan. That's a huge game. 90,000 people watching. I'm sure he must be under pressure. If Virat Kohli says, then Erasmus listens. But when Babar Azam says in Urdu, then probably he doesn't listen. For me, that is the main thing. That is what convinced them more. I'm sure he's called a no ball. But if he would have spoken in a good Queen's English or something, or somebody in Pakistan could have done that, then he might have could have reviewed it, and things might have been different, because it was touch and go. And it turned out to be a very, very crucial moment of the game, which turned the tide in India's favor.
That's true. But in the end, what happened was that it was declared, in fact, a no ball, and then there was a wide that Nawaz bowled, and then suddenly Pakistani players forgot that there was a free hit on the next ball, and then in that free hit, you saw Virat Kohli and Dinesh Karthik run 3 runs, and I think they were given as byes, and then, like we said, all of it, the rest of it was history. India won that game in a brilliant fashion. But thank you so
much. You should give credit to Virat, who was clued up, who was all clued up. That
absolutely.
When you get a free hit, it's not a dead ball. Whereas Pakistani thought it's a dead ball.
That's what I was
saying. That is what it was.
Yeah. That's right. In fact, even Rohit Sharma was wondering what was going on in the dugout. He's asking everybody else, "Hua kya hai? What has happened?" I was watching the match again. But we've got to wrap this up because we're coming back with Ashok sir on the preview for Australia-Sri Lanka. There's a match, that's right, in the World Cup today, Australia versus Sri Lanka, and it's really an important one for Sri Lanka to win after they lost to New Zealand in their opening game, and things have just gotten worse for them. Adam Zampa, their lead spinner, he's got COVID, so will he play, won't he play, we still don't know, but we'll get you all the details on the other side. So thank you. Well, sir will be back, but you guys continue to watch us, and we'll be back in just a moment. News 9 Sports is what you need to subscribe to.